right, everybody, welcome to the next game in the Strat-O-Matic 1982 NBC Game of the Week. This one coming again from County Stadium in Milwaukee, just like last week, as the Brewers taking on another American League East rival in the Orioles. Brewers have won 6 in a row, so not only after defeating the Yankees, they've won the whole week. I mean, they haven't lost. So they have opened up what is now a 4-game lead on the rest of the division. Baltimore is in second place. The magic number for the Brewers is 6 to clinch. In the West, a little bit of tightening up here. California leads Chicago by 2.5 and Kansas City by 3.5. So nice tight 3-team race there. In the Eastern Division, it's pretty much a 2-team race. So if the Brewers win this game, it's going to make it awful tough for the Orioles to come back from that. Nationally, of course, has been decided as the Expos and the Dodgers, so there's no sense showing anything out of the National League because there's no race there. All right, starting pitchers for today's game. For the Brewers, it is Pete Vukovich, and for the Orioles, it is Jim Palmer. So nice matchup there of 2 tough right-handers that are going to go at it here at County Stadium. Let's look at the starting lineups for both teams. First for the Orioles, leading off in center field will be Al Bumbry. Jim Dwyer is in right, Ken Singleton the DH. Eddie Murray at first, John Lowenstein in left, Joe Nolan behind the plate, Cal Ripken at short, Len Sakata at second, and Rich Dower, who normally plays second base, is at third base today. Kind of interesting the way Earl Weaver has that set up. For the Brew Crew, Harvey Wallbangers, Paul Molitor is at third, Robin Yountz at short, Cooper's at first, Simmons catching, Ogilvie in left, Gorman Thomas in center, Roy Howell the DH, Charlie Moore in right, and Jim Gantner at second. Kind of a standard lineup, so to speak. Now, both pitchers could be run on here because of the setup of the battery. For Vukovich, Vukovich has a +4 hold rating. Add that to the +2 from Simmons is a +6, but of course +5 is all you can have in Super Advanced. It's the highest you can have. So the Orioles will have a +5 advantage on the base paths. For the Brewers running game, Jim Palmer is a -1, but Joe Nolan's a +2. That makes it a +1. So slight advantage there again for the base runners, but really for the Orioles in particular. Although Mr. Earl Weaver, his 3-run homer, and is not big on stealing bases, but if he has the opportunity, it would make sense to do so. Baltimore won the real game 7-2. They're looking to see if they can repeat that in this one and see if they can't cut into that lead. With a win today, the Orioles would pull within 3 games of the Brew Crew. And of course, that will also help determine about what the game is going to be on October the 2nd. Don't know yet. It all is going to depend on the standings. Who's closer when I sim this next week out? We'll see whether the Brewers and Orioles get closer, whether the Brewers pull away, or just what happens. And then, of course, in the West, we'll see what kind of shifting there is in that. And whatever division is closer, that's the game I'll pick for October 2nd. So we don't know who that's going to be yet. Could be many combinations. So right now, Pete Vukovich finishing up the warm-up tosses, and he'll be facing Al Bumbry of the Orioles. Weather effects, it's the one thing I have not done. You usually do it ahead of time, but I decided to do it with the video. So we go right to the Super Advanced Weather Effects. Whoops, need to be the American League. Super Advanced Weather Effects for Milwaukee. This game is played in September, so we go to Milwaukee. It's a day game in September. So let's see, September, Milwaukee. Right here in the daytime. 7 to 13 is going to be a good day, average day. 14 to 20 is going to be bad. 1 to 6 is going to be good. That's an 11. So it's an average day in Milwaukee, which means 10 for singles and 2 for homers. I think we had that last week. So nothing changes there. Singles are 10 for both lefties and righties. Home runs are 2 for both lefties and righties. So I think that's exactly what it was last week. Not sure, but I believe it was. So here we are. We are ready to go. Pete Vukovich to face Al Bumbry. Game was played September 25th, 1982. Of course, it is premiering on September 25th, 2021. Orioles pretty much in a must-win situation. Vukovich on the mound facing Bumry. Got a 6-9 against a lefty for Vukovich. That's damage done. 1-8 is a double. 9-20 is a single. Bumry gets a leadoff single. And he's one guy that the Orioles might consider trying to get a jump and send. He can get a jump with a 6 or a 7. And if he gets the jump, it would be a 15 here, plus the 5 for the hold rating would give him a 20, minus 2 he'll be the 18. So it would be a 1-18 if he can get a jump. But it's a 6 or a 7. That's the only way he gets the jump. That's an 80. Just missed the jump, so Bumry can't get the jump. He will be held, but he can't quite get the jump. So he'll stand pat. And Jim Dwyer, right fielder, steps to the plate against Vukovich. We get a 2-6 for Jim Dwyer, and that's a walk. So Bumry makes second base anyway via a walk to the next batter, Jim Dwyer. And the Orioles off to a good start. And the 3-run homer presents itself here in the first inning as the 2 base runners are on, nobody out. And here's Ken Singleton. Vukovich, nothing on the havoc. Singleton switch hitting DH against Vukovich. 2-8. 2-8 is a single to center field. And all of a sudden, Orioles got something going early. Center fielder arm is Gorman Thomas. He is a -2. Bumry was being held at second base, which drops him to a 14. The -2 makes it a 12. And with nobody out, they're not going to risk it. That's not a good enough percentage to go. So bases are now loaded with nobody out for the powerful Eddie Murray. So Vukovich in deep doo-doo here in the first. Can't quite get out of the gates. Vukovich to Murray. They are playing back for a double play. They will gladly trade a run for 2 outs. 2-10, and look at that, a ballpark home run chance, though. That's the only thing that's going to save him. Would have been a home run in advance, but in super advance is ballpark home run, which that's a 2 and that's a 5, so that fails. It's not, it says where it's going to go, so it defaults to center field, but by default, that is a sacrifice fly. So at least Eddie Murray gets the run home on the sacrifice fly, as that turns into an outfield B when it's not a home run. So sacrifice fly for Eddie Murray, as the Orioles get on the board 1-0, but almost a grand slam, not quite. All right, so now that brings up John Let It Be Lowenstein, the left fielder, against Vukovich. Vukovich with a double play ball can get out of this thing miraculously with only 1 run. 1-8, but he's not going to do it. 1-8 is a 1-17 is a double. That's a 13. That's a double 2 stars. So John Lowenstein cracks a double. Dwyer will score from second, but with the 2 stars, Singleton has to hold at third. But it's a 2-0 Oriole lead. They have runners at second and third with only 1 out, and the catcher, Joe Nolan, the batter. The infield now will have to come in, as they don't really want to allow any more runs if they can avoid it. So Nolan facing Vukovich, and Vukovich in desperate need of some outs. 5-7. Ground ball second base X. That is Gantner. He's a 2E17. Let's see what Gantner can do. 2E17. That's a 13. So a 2 and a 13 for a second baseman is probably, let's see what it is here. We'll figure it out for sure. A 2 and a 17. I'm sorry, 2 and a 13 is a G1. And that's a 4. And he is an E17. There is no 4. There's a 3 and a 6, but no 4. So a G1 with runners at second and third and the infield end, the play is only on the batter. So everybody had to hold. Gantner throws to first for out number 2. And that brings up Cal Ripken. Infield can go back to normal, but Vukovich not out of the woods yet. Got to face Ripken. They could walk Ripken and pitch to Sakata with first base open. But rookie Ripken, not that much in this part of his career, not that much better a hitter than Sakata was. So they will go ahead and pitch to Ripken. Vukovich, nothing on the havoc. Here's the pitch to Ripken. 2-8, and that's a ground ball to short with the infield. The infield is not in. It's with 2 outs. The infield is back, so that won't get through for a single. That will be a ground ball to short. And I guess Vukovic gets out of it pretty good shape, only allowing the 2 runs, but it is 2 runs after all. And the Orioles take a 2-0 lead as we go to the bottom of the first. Hand that over to Jim Palmer. So Jim Palmer is handed a 2-run lead to work with, but they don't call them Harvey's Wallbangers for nothing. They can put some runs on the board in a hurry. Here's Paul Molitor. 1-9 for Molitor, but that's a ground ball to Sakata. 1 away. Brings up Robin Yount. 6-4. Right-hander. 6-4 is a fly ball center field X. That's Bumry. He's only a 4 range, so not too good. 4 and an E7. This could drop. But 15 is not going to let that happen. 4 and a 15 is going to be a fly ball out. That's a 13. He is an E7. 13 and an E7. There is no 7. There's a 6, but there's no 7. So good play for Bumry. Makes a tough running catch. Records out number 2. 2 down, and that'll send us to Cecil Cooper. 5-6, left-hander against Palmer. 5-6 is a fly to right field. So Palmer, a 1-2-3 inning as he takes care of business and keeps that 2-0 lead intact. We go to the second, 2-0 O's. Vukovic back out, looking to stabilize things. He'll be facing second baseman Len Sakata. Leading off, Sakata, Dower, and then Bumry. 1-7 for Sakata. A 1-7 is a single, but that's an 11, so it ends up being a liner to third. Paul Molitor snares it, 1 away, and here's Rich Dower. 1-9, and that's a ground ball to second. Jim Gantner right there, 2 down. Back to Al Bumry. Started everything off with a single to start the game and scored the first run on the sacrifice fly by Murray. Vukovic, 3-11 to Bumry. Is a ground ball to first. Since it's a C, I'll go ahead and do the old 3-1 put out. Not that it matters. And it's a 1-2-3 inning for Vukovic. Much better for Vukovic. Keeps the score 2-0. We go to the bottom of the second. And leading off for the Brew Crew is Ted Simmons, recent Hall of Famer. 3-7 for Simmons, and he flies to center. Bumry is right there. 1 away for Ben Ogilvy. 5-5, and that's another fly to left. So a lot of fly ball outs. Vukovic apparently a fly ball pitcher. A lot of his cards have fly ball outs on them. Here's Stormin Gorman. I'm sorry, Palmer, not Vukovic. Palmer must be a fly ball pitcher. He is noted for the high fastball, so maybe that's what it is. 6-6. It's a line out to third, snagged by Dower. And it's another 1-2-3 inning for Mr. Palmer. So Jim Palmer makes the Brewers go away quickly in the second. We go to the third, still 2-0, Brew Crew in trouble, but not out of it by any means. Here's Jim Dwyer. 5-6. We saw that last week in the comeback against the Yankees. 5-6 is a strikeout. So good start there for Vuk. That'll bring up Singleton. 2-6 for Singleton. All these hits in column 2, and he found a ground ball to second. And I believe Singleton is one of those major leaguers that played Strat, or at least talks about Strat when he announces. So I think he still plays it, or used to play it, one or the other. So 2 down, and here's Eddie Murray. 4-6, switch hitter batting left. 4-6, a 1-5 is a single, but that's a 13. Ground ball to first, and Coop will take it himself. And it's a 1-2-3 inning, so Vukovic has settled in nicely as well, but still has that first inning lingering over his head. We go to the bottom of the third, still 2-0. And coming up for the Brew Crew will be the designated hitter, Roy Howell. Of course, last week we had Roy Howell against Jay Howell, and we're just missing Thurston Howell the third. But Lovey's not around, neither is Thurston Howell, neither is Gilligan. It's up to Roy Howell. 6-10, and that's a ground ball shortstop X, Cal Ripken on the spot. He's a 3E23. 3-18 is good all day long. E23 and a 10 should not be a problem. And it is not. Good play for Cal. 1 away. Brings up Charlie Moore. right fielder. 2-8 for Moore, and that's a ground ball right back to Palmer. So talk about Palmer getting all these flyouts. Now he's got 2 consecutive ground outs, and that brings up Jim Gantner. 6-3 for a lefty. That's a fly ball left field X. Lowenstein's a 3-E-0, so we know he cannot make an error. We only need to roll the D20 to see if he gets to it. 3 and a 7 is iffy. 3 and a 7, but he does get to it. A 3 and a 7 is the first number on the F1 chart. 3 and a 6 would have been a single, but 7 is an F1, so Lowenstein able to barely track it down, and the Brewers go in order again. We go to the 4th, still 2-0, favor of the O's, as Earl Weaver is keeping the Chesterfields in his pocket for now, but he has them in reserve just in case we get to cardiac time. Here's John Lowenstein, had that big RBI double first time up. 2-11, and this time he will ground it to Gantner. Easy play, 1 away. For the catcher, Joe Nolan. 4-9, lefty, 4-9, 1-4 is a home run. That's a 13 though, so it's just a fly to right, a deep fly to right field. But Charlie Moore puts it away for 2 down. And here's Cal. 1-5, 1-4 is a double. Anything else is a fly to center. That's a 1, so Cal Ripken, a 2-out double. 2-out double for Cal Ripken. He will not be held on second base. And that'll bring up Vukovic. Nothing on the Havoc. Vukovic to Sakata. 6-10. That's a ballpark single check. 1-10 for a single, but that's a 14, so that will be a liner to short. You don't take the result here. You default, when it's a failed ballpark check, you default to a liner to short or a liner to second, depending on whether the batter is right or left-handed. So in this case, liner to short, innings over. It really doesn't matter. I'm not doing defensive stats, so the important thing is it's an out. So since it's an out, the inning's over. We go to the bottom of the 4th, still 2-0. Palmer back out. We'll face the top of the order, Paul Molitor, Yount, and Cooper. Second time around to see Palmer, see if it helps. Get something started. 5-9, nope, a fly to center. Bunbury puts it away. 1 down, and that'll bring up Robin Yount. 4-11 off of Palmer, and that's a ballpark home run chance, but again, only a 1-2, so it's going to be a deep fly to left, and there's 2 away for Cecil Cooper. 2-5 for Cooper, and that's a base hit. 1-19 is a home run, actually, and that's a 15. It is gone. So not only is the no-hitter gone, the shutout is gone, as Cecil Cooper just clubbed one, and all Jim Dwyer could do is look at it. It is now a 2-1 game, thanks to the home run from Cecil Cooper. And he clubbed 32 home runs on the season. Cuts the lead to 2-1. Here's Ted Simmons. 6-7, switch hitter batting left. That's a pop out to Eddie Murray to end the inning. But the Brew Crew do get on the board, and at the end of 4, it's 2-1 Orioles. Vukovic back out. He's got a fatigue of 8. Palmer has a fatigue of 7. So we could see some length from both starters. And next inning, I'll show the bullpen and benches so we see who's available. Here is Vukovic to Dower. 2-5 for Dower. That's a leadoff single for Rich Dower. So Dower's aboard. He will not be held. Bumry's an A bunter, so they're going to have him bunt. First we'll roll, see if there's anything Havoc going on. Nothing's going on. So Bumry's going to bunt. So we go to the super advanced bunt chart. Roll the 3D6s and see what we get. He's an A bunter, but with the corners in, he becomes a B bunter. And that's a total of 4 on the blue dice. B bunter and a 4. B bunter and a 4 says speed. Speed says batter lays down a great bunt and has a chance to beat it out for a single. Roll the 20-sided die. If it falls within the running range, score it as a single. Well, he's a 1-15, so his bunt was so good he's got a chance to beat it out. If this is a 1-15, he beats it out. And he does. Al Bumry, a bunt single, trying to sacrifice, but it was such a good bunt, he beat it out for a base hit. And now first and second, nobody out. Jim Dwyer is not a good bunter, so he will not be bunting. But he's got a chance to do some damage. 20-0 on the Havoc. Here's Dwyer. 5-8. That's a fly to center. That's out number 1. Dower stays put for Ken Singleton. Vukovic trying to pitch out of the mess. 5-8. 5-8 is another fly to center. So 2 flyouts to center field, and now he's 1 out away from getting out of this, but he's got to deal with Eddie Murray. And there's no place to put him. So Eddie Murray, Vukovic to Murray. 4-5 against a left-hander. A switcher batting left is a ground ball to second, and Vukovic is going to pitch out of it. Nice job by Vukovic to pitch out of trouble. And the fact that Dwyer was not able to bunt, not being a good bunter, really hurt him there. They could have used a good sacrifice. But Earl Weaver playing for the 3-run homer from power hitting guys Dwyer, Singleton, and Murray, and didn't work out. So bottom of the 5th we go. It'll be Ben Ogilvy against Palmer. 1-4 for Ogilvy is a ballpark single check, 1-10. That's a 6. Base hit for Ben Ogilvy. He will not be held at first base. Palmer with the havoc, but nothing going on. Here's Storm and Gorman. 3-5 for Gorman. That's a walk. So all of a sudden now, Brewers have something cooking here in the 5th inning. And that'll bring up Roy Howell. He's not a good bunter either, so he will not be bunting. Brewers going to play for their own 3-run homer, perhaps. 4-8, and that's another walk. So the bases are now loaded all of a sudden with nobody out. So Palmer was cruising, but now he's in trouble. And the Oriole bullpen has already started to light toss out there. They can't afford. They got to play this thing pretty much like it's do or die. So they have the bullpen loosening. They do have left-hander. Well, their bullpen actually is not all that good, to be honest with you. They do have left-hander Ross Grimsley, but I'm not sure we're going to bring him in. In fact, we'll go ahead. I was going to wait till the 6th inning, but might as well do it now because the situation may call for it. Oriole bullpen, they have 2 lefties, Ross Grimsley and Tippy Martinez. They have 3 right-handers, Mike Boddicker, Sammy Stewart, and Don Stanhouse, Stan the Man Unusual. That is the bullpen for the Orioles. The bench for the Orioles, they have a total of 6 right-handers and 2 left-handers. They have Bobby Bonner, Gary Renicky, Floyd Rayford, Disco Dan Ford, Rick Dempsey, and Benny Ayala from the right side. They have Terry Crowley and Glenn Gulliver from the left side. For the Brewers, in their bullpen, they have 2 lefties. They have Jerry Augustine and Jamie Easterly. And they have 4 righties. They have Moose Haas, Jim Slayton, Dwight Bernard, and Raleigh Fingers. And on the bench for the Brew Crew, they have 1 lefty, Marshall Edwards. Everybody else is right-handed. They have Ed Romero, Rob Piccolo, Don Money, Mark Bruhard, and backup catcher Ned Yost. So those are all the available participants. So now that's out of the way. Palmer, after a visit from pitching coach, we'll have to see what he can do here. Bases loaded, nobody out. They are playing back for a double play. They'll trade the run to get 2 outs if they can get it. Strategy roll for Palmer. Nothing happening. So playing for the double play ball. Palmer 1-5, but it's not going to happen. 1-8's a triple. That's a 6. That's a base clearing triple from Charlie Moore, clearing the bases, and the Brew Crew all of a sudden have jumped on top 4-2, and Earl has just lit up his 2nd consecutive Chesterfield as he is really in a panic. As he feels this game slipping away, it is now 4-2, and they're not done yet, are the Brewers. Runner on 3rd and nobody out. Infield will have to play in. They have no choice. 1 chance for a wild pitch, but there's no wild pitch. Palmer to Gantner. 5-7. That's a fly ball center field B. That'll be a sacrifice fly. That's good enough. That brings the 5th run home. 4th this inning, but the Brew Crew now lead it by the score of 5-2 with 1 out here in the bottom of the 5th. Top of the order we go. Paul Molitor. Base is clear now. 5-6. Pop up to short. Ripken's there, 2 down. And that brings up Robin Yount. 4-7. 1-12 is a single. That's an 11, so it will be a single for Robin Yount. And again, +1 if they wanted to try to run. He can get a jump with a 6. Let's see if he can get the jump. He does not get the jump, so Yount will stay put. He will be held. And here is Cecil Cooper. Cecil Cooper, the batter. Do you bring in Grimsley lefty on lefty against Cooper, or do you let Cooper swing against Palmer? I think they're going to keep Palmer in the game. 1-7. 1-7 is a single 1-star. That is a 1. It's a base hit, but it's only a 1-star single. So now runners are at first and second with 2 down for Ted Simmons. Simmons is 0 for 2, so since Palmer's gotten him out twice, they're going to stick with Palmer one more time. 1-7, and that might have been a bad mistake. Well, it really wouldn't have mattered no matter who you brought in. A 1-7 is going to be a base hit either way for Mr. Simmons. And a 1-7 is going to be a double. Double 2 stars. Double 2 stars. So that will score Yount and move Cooper to third base. And they have now batted around as all 9 have come to the plate. And Ogilvy will be coming up next. And that's going to be it for Palmer. He is done. Jim Palmer's day is done. Ross Grimsley making his way in from the bullpen. Is Mr. Grimsley. Grimsley on the 82 season was 1-2 with a 5.25 ERA, so not very good, but you got to go with what you got. And that run coming in makes it now 5 runs this inning, so it's actually a 6-2 game. A 5-run 5th inning for the Brew Crew. They lead it now 6-2. Palmer heads to the showers. Ogilvy against Ross Grimsley. Nothing on the Havoc. 2-10 against a lefty is a line out to short. Would have been a home run chance, but I would have failed also. But so we got to add this in for the continuing of the 5th inning. So a 2-10 is going to be a line out to Ripken to end the inning. So 5 runs in the inning for the Brew Crew. Grimsley finally gets the final out, but the Brewers now lead at 6-2, and they seem large and in charge. Vukovic has been on a roll, so he is enjoying this run support. Earl Weaver trying to get a rally started with John Lowenstein. 2-7, ground ball to first. Cooper's got it. 1 down. That brings up Joe Nolan, the catcher. 6-7, lefty is a single, so Joe Nolan, a 1-out single. Got to start somewhere, and you start right there with a single. Joe Nolan will not be held. Here is Cal after the Havoc roll. Nothing going on. Vukovic, 6-5. Ground ball shortstop A. That's a 6-4-3 tailor-made double play. And that's going to do it for the top of the 6th. Orioles look defeated. And they may very well be. There's still 3 innings to go, though, so you never know what can happen. But the Brewers, with their vaunted Harvey Wallbanger offense, strike. All right. And one of the things that got Palmer in trouble was a couple of walks, but mostly it was the 5 hits in the inning. So Gorman Thomas now will lead it off against Grimsley. 6-5. That is a line out to second. Snagged by Sakata, 1 away. Roy Howell, the batter, he usually does not bat against lefty pitching. They usually have Don Money come in, but with the 6-2 lead, they're going to let Howell go ahead and stay in there. 3-7 and fly to center. If it was a clutch situation, they got in a hit, but 3-7 is a fly to center. 2 down, and that's going to bring up Charlie Moore. So Ross Grimsley's retired all 3 he has faced. 5-7. And I just jinxed him. There's a single right there. So as soon as I mention that, he gives up a single. Charlie Moore will not be held. Here is Gantner, another lefty on lefty matchup. 3-7, and that's a fly to center. He does have the clutch, but runner's got to be in scoring position for that to take effect. So just a fly out to center to end the inning. And I think that's going to do it for Grimsley. He's going to go his inning and a third, do his job, keep the score where it is. We go to the top of the 7th. And this is the fatigue. Oh, no, it's not. 8th inning's fatigue inning for Vukovic. I spoke too soon. Now, Lenny Sakata is up. He's 0 for 2. We might start getting some Oriole pinch hitters. I believe we will. They are going to go with... Who do they want to go with here off the bench that's any good? Well, a lot of their pinch hitters aren't that good, actually. You know what? Sakata hit 259, so I think we're just going to stick with Sakata unless they can find somebody else that's a whole lot better. Benny Ayala is really good, but he's really good against lefties, so we're going to stick with Sakata for now. Let him swing away against Vukovic. 6-4. Ground ball third base X. That's Paul Molitor. He's a 4 E32. 4 to 20 is good all day long. And we're looking at an E32 and a 10 for a third baseman. E32, there is an 11 and a 13, but no 10. So good play for Paul Molitor. One away, that brings up Rich Dower. Third baseman, rather. I keep saying second baseman. He's a third baseman. Rich Dower. 5-12. That's a ground ball first base X. That's Cooper. Cooper is a 1 E5. I rolled a D20 just to see if it's an A, B, or C ground ball. 15, a 1 and a 15 is a G1, so it's a ground ball A. That's a 4, and Cooper's an E5. There is no 4 there, but since it's on the X chart, I'll go ahead and do a 3-1, saying that he had to make extra effort and he had to flip to Vukovic to get the out. So there's 2 down. That brings up Al Bumry. 112 for Bumry. Split chance here on the super advanced. 1 to 2 was a single, but that's an 8. So it's a line out to second, and just advance, it'd be a ground ball to short. Take this one, but super advanced, we drop down on the triangle, and we get the line out to second. So line out to second. Down go the Orioles. And since that first inning, they have done nothing. Literally nothing against Vukovic. 7th inning stretch time has arrived. So I'm going to go ahead and stand up as well and take a little stretch. And the Orioles will need a new pitcher out of their bullpen. And we'll see who that's going to be. It's going to be a right-hander. And it's going to be... Looks like it's going to be slamming Sammy Stewart. 10-9, 4.14 ERA. Did have 12 starts and 5 saves, so he was kind of a hybrid. But he is in there, and he'll be facing the top of the order, Molitor, Yount, and Cooper. So I forgot to write in pitchers over here, not that it matters. So Sammy Stewart going to pitch here in the bottom of the 7th with the Brewers in front 6-2, which seems like a comfortable lead, 6-2, but you never know. Still 2 innings to go. Stewart to Molitor. 3-3 for Molitor. That's a ballpark single. 1 to 10. That's a 9. So Molitor gets the benefit of the D20 being low enough and gets a leadoff single. He will be held, but up 6-2. I don't know if they're going to try to steal or not. It would be a +2 if he could get the jump. So you know what? They're gonna try to get the jump. 2 through 5 or a 12 gets him a jump. It's an 8. He can't get the jump, so he'll stand fast. He will be held, of course. And here's Robin Yount. 4-6. That's a single to left field. That's going to put runners at first and second with nobody out here in the top half of the 7th. That'll bring up Cecil Cooper, and with some lefties coming up, you know, Earl Weaver's had enough of Sammy Stewart. He's going to pull him early before this game gets away from him all the way, and he's going to bring in Tippy Martinez, his closer, because he has no choice. If you give up runs now, the game's over. So this is like the closing situation for the Orioles. They have to get out of this with minimal damage to have any chance whatsoever. Martinez 8-8 with a 3.41 ERA and 16 saves. And this is not 2021, so he does not have to pitch to 3 batters. He can face only 2. And if he's screwing things up, you get him out of there, as it should be. So Cooper, lefty on lefty against Tippy Martinez. Havoc roll, nothing happening. Lefty on lefty, Martinez. The Orioles need a double play in the worst way. 2-9, and it's a ground ball second base B. So that's a fielder's choice. Nobody's being held. Well, Molitor is being held, but he's being held by the shortstop, not the second baseman, so there's no worries there. It's just a 4-6 fielder's choice. Couldn't get the double play, but they did get the force play at second base. So runners are at the corners with 1 out for switch hitter Ted Simmons. And they are playing for a standard double play because Simmons is a good double play candidate. So they're going to play double play depth against Simmons. 4-4, switch hitter batting right-handed. 4-4 is a ballpark single check. That's a 1. It's a base hit. So the ballpark singles, the D20s are working well for the Brewers. They get a run on the base hit by Simmons. Cooper will take second base, but now it is a 7-2 game. Favor the Brewers. Nobody's going to be held on now with the score being what it is and the runners not going so well. So Martinez facing Ogilvy. 5-2. Another split chance. 1-18 is a single. That is a single. It's 1 star, so the bases are now loaded. So now Tippy Martinez can't get it done. And he's going to face Stormin Gorman. Now, do you let him face Stormin Gorman? Stormin Gorman against lefties eats up lefties in the left-hand column. But I think they're going to stick with him. He's your closer, so you got to stick with him. They are now playing infield in. They are playing infield in. Infield in to try to get that force play. 2-4. That's a 1 for a single. Anything else, he lines it to short. So it's a liner to Ripken for out number 2. And now the infield can go back to normal. Roy Howell, the batter. But they're going to call Roy Howell back. They're going for blood. And they're going to bring in Don Money, the pinch hitter. Don Money. 284 average, 16 home runs on the season. And he's got a very good average against lefty pitchers. So Don Money will take over as the new DH. And they are trying to put the dagger in the Orioles if it's not already there. They're trying to insert it a little further. Any base hit here would pretty much guarantee the game's over, but it may be over already the way the Orioles are not hitting and the way Vukovich is pitching, but you never know. Martinez to Money, 6-6. 1-2 was a single, but that's a 10. So it's ground ball to third. 6-6 against lefty would have been a walk, and they would have forced in a run, so maybe I outfoxed myself there. I don't know. But instead, it is going to be a ground ball to third to end the inning. But 1 run does score at the end of 7. It is the Brewers 7 and the Orioles 2. And Vukovich, this will be his fatigue inning right here. But he's going so well, you don't even, the bullpen is silent for the Brewers right now. They have no action in the bullpen. They're going to let Vukovich go. Here's Jim Dwyer. 1-9, that's a good column for Dwyer. 1-6 is a triple, that's a 14 though, so it's only a single. So again, even in that instance, the D20 just not favorable to the Orioles. And sometimes D20 just goes against you. All right, with the score being what it is, they are not going to hold Dwyer. So he will stand fast, but they're not going to hold him. Havoc roll, nothing happening. Here's Ken Singleton. 3-11 for Singleton is a strikeout. Haven't had many strikeouts in the game. We'll get one right there. And here's Eddie Murray. Nothing on the Havoc. Eddie Murray to Vukovich to Murray, rather. 5-3. Fly ball right field X. Right fielder is Charlie Moore. He's a 2-E3. 2 and a 14 is good. He will get to that. E3 and a 6. E3 and a 6. There is no 6. It's good play. Charlie Moore makes the play. 2 down for John Lowenstein. Lowenstein, nothing happening. 4-12. That's a ballpark home run chance, but again, it's only a 1-2. That's a 13. So it's just a mere fly to right, and the inning's over. So Vukovich will be going for the complete game. He only has 1 knock against his point of weakness. And the Orioles now, with some righties coming up, they will go to their bullpen once again and bring in Stan the Man Unusual, Don Stanhouse. He's a computer-generated card. 0-1 with a 5.40 ERA, but he was our closer back in the late 70s, early 80s. But by the time 82 came around, he had kind of, in 79 and 80, he was the top dog, but in 82, he kind of fell off. So Don Stanhouse, or we were used to call him full pack because he'd go through a full pack of cigarettes while he was on the mound. He's going to face Charlie Moore. 4-3. 4-3 is a fly ball right field X. That is the right fielder Dwyer. He's a 3 E9. 3 and a 16 is good. E9 and a 6 is good also. So nice play for Jim Dwyer. He makes the catch. 1 down for Jim Gantner. 2-3 for Gantner. That's another fly to right. So Jim Dwyer on the move again, makes the catch. 2 down for Paul Molitor. 6-6, and that's a double on a 1-9, single on a 10-20. That's a 9. It is a double for Paul Molitor, a 2-out double. So again, Stanhouse cannot get a 1-2-3 inning, which is why they used to call him full pack, because he would often put guys on base. Here's Robin Yount. Havoc roll, but nothing's happening. Stanhouse to Yount, 4-8, and that's a walk. So he's going to walk Robin Yount. Put 2 on with 2 outs for Cecil Cooper. The Orioles used both their lefties already, so it's Stanhouse or bust at this point. 4-4, and that is a fly ball to right field C, but it is a ballpark single check, which is 1-10, but that's a 12, so it's going to end up being a line out to second. I believe on the computer cards, when you have this little sideways greater than sign, that is the ballpark single check, whereas the pound sign's a ballpark home run check. Don't know how well it shows up on camera on this computer card, but that is that little greater than sign. So it is a ballpark check, but it failed. And Stanhouse managed to go a 0 inning here. He tosses a shutout inning to keep it going. Keep the score 7-2. We go to the 9th. Vukovich back out, looking for that complete game. Little mingling in the Brewer bullpen, not much, but they do have right-hander Dwight Bernard loosening just in case. And they also have lefty Jamie Easterly. So they got double barrel action just in case, but they're not sweating it too much right now. Joe Nolan might be pulled back for a pinch hitter. He is 1 for 3, but they need some more offense out there. So they're going to turn to pinch hitter extraordinaire Terry Crowley. So he will take over as the pinch hitter. And if somehow they miraculously tie the game or take the lead, they would bring in Rick Dempsey to catch. But that's a long way off at the moment. But right now they're going with Terry Crowley. On the 82 season, he was a .237 hitter. And he's out there to face Pete Vukovich. Does have a good column 3 with a lot of walks to get on base. And that's what the Orioles need, base runners. Vukovich 1-6, but it's going to pop it up to second. And there's 1 away. And for second guessers out there, a 1-6 on Joe Nolan's card, he would have popped to short. So either way you go, it was a pop out. That brings up Cal Ripken to face Vukovich. 2-7, and that is a single. Single for Ripken. And that brings up Lenny Sakata. Now, do they bring in anybody for Sakata? I think you got to bring in some offense here. So Sakata is going to be removed. He is 0 for 3 on the day, and they're going to bring in Benny Ayala, 305 hitter. Much better against lefties, but still okay against righties. But they need offense. You can see he's much better against lefties. Does have a good column 3 against righties. So Benny Ayala. But if you're Earl Weaver, you don't have that luxury to look at all that stuff. You're going off your bench who your best hitters are. And so I'm trying to play it that way. I'm trying not to game the system. All right, so Vukovich now facing Ayala. 1-6, struck him out. So Ayala out on strikes on a 1-6. Len Sakata on a 1-6. He would have flown to center, so it really didn't matter at that point. 2 down, and that brings up Rich Dower, and I think they're going to stick with Dower. The bench is pretty much depleted at this point. They do have Disco Dan Ford, but he's not much better than Dower is. So they'll stick with Dower. Vukovich 1 out away from a complete game. And for those younger folks, a complete game is when a pitcher actually starts the game and finishes the game. I know it's rare. You don't get to see it much anymore. But it did used to happen. And it could happen here. 2-7. Rich Dower. All these hits in column 2, he found a ground ball to second. And the ball game is over. There's a plus sign, but they weren't in, and they weren't holding the runners or anything like that. Ball game is over. Vukovich flips the tables on the Orioles. Look at this. The real game, the Orioles won it 7-2. In the replay, the Brewers win it 7-2. Go figure. Now the Brewers with that win, the Brew Crew with that win, they now have a 5-game lead on the Orioles as the Orioles drop to 85-69. Brewers get their 90th win. So come next Saturday, they could have this division wrapped up, and we could be looking at the West for a potential game next Saturday. We shall see how it goes. Neither team, I don't believe, committed an error. So it's a clean game. Check the hits. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 hits for the Orioles. 2 runs, 9 hits, no errors. For the Brew Crew, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. I got them for 12 hits. So 7 runs, 12 hits, no errors for the Brewers. 2 runs, 9 hits, no errors for the Orioles. Winning pitcher was Pete Vukovich, complete game. And the losing pitcher was Jim Palmer. Offensively for the Brewers, you could pick anybody, and there's a whole bunch of guys that had a couple of hits. No one really stood out overly, to be that dominant. It was kind of a mixed bag. Charlie Moore did have a big triple, base-clearing triple. I guess he was the offensive star, if you want to call it that, because he had the big triple that cleared the bases and that really broke this thing open. But you got to admire Vukovich. He gave up the 2 runs. He was in trouble. He was ready to get knocked out in the first inning, but he held on, and the rest is history. So the Brewers defeat the Orioles, flip the script, and win it 7-2. That's going to do it from County Stadium. Player of the game, Pete Vukovich. He got it done. Vukovich got it done. It's the reason why he won the Cy Young Award in 1982, and you saw it right there. So the Brew Crew enhances their division lead with that victory, and like I said, next week, depending on what the Strat computer plays out, we could be right back playing in the East with the Brewers playing somebody, or it could be in the West if the Brewers put the division on ice. So until next time, hope you enjoyed this presentation of NBC Strat-O-Matic Game of the Week. I also encourage you to enjoy the hobby, playing whatever game you choose to play, however you choose to play it. And as usual, I will see you all down the road.